You absolute bloody legends. Welcome back to another episode of FatChat by Body Majic. As always, joined by my co-host, Ironman legend, Matt Burton. Matt, welcome back for another episode.
Thank you, Body Maj. One day I'll make the actual intro.
Yeah,
mate.
Now,
just hosted by.
And just, hang on, and now we're doing this one ready. Now, everybody listen. It's got to come through the microphone. The champion. We're very excited today, FatChat, because the champion of the Mullaloo Triathlon the other week, Matt Burton. Well done. First race back. First win. We're back, baby.
We're back. Yeah, we are.
How was it? Run me through the race.
I was a rusty old gate, but yeah, I just needed to get in amongst it. And there's so many ways you can go about, I guess, coming back to something after a bit of a hiatus. But yeah, I was probably most nervous about how, like, I hadn't run because of the foot issue. I really haven't. I've looked after my feet for the time, and I haven't run out of, like, on a hard surface, like running to transition.
So that was the unknown part.
Yeah, out of the swim, like how sensitive they'll be running up the sand. But once you get going and there's some adrenaline, it's fun.
Yeah, and you get those competitive juices flowing
again. Yeah. So the swimming's fine, and then the running up the beach is always going to hit you regardless of what state of fitness you're at. And then the bike, was the first time I felt like my bike and I really started to get along.
Great.
And the gear, so it's...
What changed that relationship?
Persistence. It's been 6 weeks. It had been 6 weeks of training, so adapting to it all.
Had a chat.
Yeah, we just...
worked through
We just spoke it out in the garage at home.
That's good.
Just
sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to do that with your bike. Why can I actually picture you sitting down on a chair talking to your bike? Like,
I wouldn't have been sitting down. I would have been riding it, and I would have said, come on. Enough's enough now. It was actually, I guess, my coach's hand. He was like, just spend as much time on it as you can. Not adding more to the week, but just ride it every session, not use the road bike as well.
Yep.
And then and running was as expected. Like it wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. Probably, like, for what he said I would run, I ran faster just because.
Great.
Based on where we feel I might be at. But yeah, what I did take from it was a good boost straight away.
Great.
Into mentally,
We're back.
physically.
Yep.
I've had a really good couple of weeks since that. So
that's good. So because we saw you 2 days, you came over for dinner 2 days before that.
Can we just... Yes, Body Majic did invite me to his house for dinner.
Yep, beautiful steaks. How are the steaks? Was it cooked to
bad.
your liking?
Kim's still talking about it.
That's good. That's good. Well, welcome, Kim's. Welcome back. Don't know about you, but that Friday before, I reckon that, like, I could tell that you were. I wouldn't say nervous, but I think you were, like, real. Just ready to fucking pop and get into the race. Pretty much. I don't think you were nervous.
Yeah,
but
it was weird. It was a different.
Yeah.
There wasn't an expectation on how I would perform. I'd been beaten. So since I started back training, I was going to, like, local bike races, time trials weekly, and getting destroyed. So
yeah, I remember you saying
it was just a part of the process to really keep myself, like, in a race head straight away, because I need to get back racing sooner rather than later. It's how I'm trying to make an income, make a living. So yeah, I dealt with being beaten heaps, and so it was like, if I go to a triathlon and I get, you get beaten, so be it. It's just, I need to feel better, and that's what it was. It's very personal now. It's like, do I feel like I'm progressing from what I should be, or where I should be at? Like,
do you think that having that no expectation helped on the day as well? Like, because you didn't have any, you're like, oh yeah, whatever, let's just see how it goes. But then once, like you said, the adrenaline got going, the competitive sort of side, the whole race day, which is like, if anybody's done a race, you understand when you're there, it's all hype. Yeah. Do you reckon that helps, or?
Yeah, I was very reserved in my effort because I was so concerned about the run.
Yep.
Because it had been 5 or 6 weeks prior to that, 5 weeks. No, I had not had one run that felt right, felt nice, felt comfortable, easy ones that were a bit harder. Nothing felt like I was falling right. So I was, even on the bike, I was probably, it's just
you're thinking that
holding back a bit, because I'm like, well, if I work too hard here, I'll
gas out.
I might not even run at all, because it was just such an unknown. So that was nice. As soon as I got running, I was like, oh, it's not terrible. I'm probably turning over nice for the first time. And since then, it's like it's kicked
that
into
big
the right
boost
gear.
of confidence, and you just know that
again.
that you're back. That's awesome. So that was obviously a much shorter. That was just a sprint triathlon, 2 hours. Oh, that's not a sprint,
Olympic
is it?
Distance.
Olympic distance. And then this week coming up, when this episode comes on out, we've got the Busselton 100, right?
I'll almost be down there. So it's quite weird. I come off such a high in December.
Yeah.
In Busselton, and now I'm back there. Like come back. Number 3.
Yes, we love a comeback. We love it. You can't knock him down.
Oh, but people, I guess a lot of people don't know, how hard those first couple of months of the year were for me, and whether or not I'd even get up and go again. So it's still part of, Ironman Cairns is in June, so it's another
stepping stone
towards it, and I need to hit some certain, I guess, levels because they're all reference points, right? I've been to Busselton so many times and raced. It's just another point of data that I can make a reference to last year or the year before. So that will be more the where I'll be more nervous. Of course, you try and race to win them, but I'm also realistic to
just see what happens.
Where I'm at, different. No, it's like once upon a time, or last year would have been about trying to break a record and stuff. But it's very the feeling I want from the events is far more sort of personal in the long-term approach. That's under medical advice as well.
Of course. Well, I think that's like, for anybody that's had any sort of injury coming on back to either a sport or even just getting back into training or whatever, same sort of thing. Like you can't just expect that it's going, okay, the time's done, ding, 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 we're back. It's about, picking. You don't have to go guns blazing to start on off with. You can just gradually build yourself back in, build your confidence back. That is as much as getting back to wherever you were is the confidence in your head, not just the body too. So build that, slide yourself in.
And be smarter because you've been in it longer then. So you come back. And for me, this time, volume works has always been far more beneficial for my fitness than sessions with specific effort or really hard stuff. Like short burst VO2 work that a lot of people... they always got to make reference to that session. But for me, if I can do 35 to 40 hours consistently, everything boosts for me. And that's just the nature of, I guess, physiology with VO2 max and stuff. It's, I feel better about it now, but races are always then that.
Who knows?
That anxious point of like, am I? Or have I been
so good
myself?
How many people are in this race?
Like in the field?
Yeah.
It's sold out. So
sold out.
I don't know how many.
A few thousand.
1,500.
Yeah.
But it would just be nice to be back in Busso. It's
absolutely
colder. May's a bit
It's
cooler.
a vibe down there. It's a vibe with all the triathlons. So because they do so many events as well, like everybody, I feel hell gets around it down there.
And it's just very West Australian, this one. It's all about, finishing the season. It's where it's always finished each year. So, it will be good fun regardless.
And it's called the Busselton 100 because it's a 100-kilometre race. So, like, what is the breakdowns for this one?
Yeah, so we swim 2K. And then you ride 80K and run 18. So that's suited to me because I don't have to run as far at the moment.
That's perfect.
But also I haven't run real hard like that for... It's I'm improving, but it's also... it'll still be about that run.
Yeah, for sure. And if any listeners and viewers remember that the back end of last year, this was the race that you said body Maj. You tried to get me to sign up to.
I tried to.
It was all this.
We had Beck on the phone.
No, I had Beck on the phone. I was going, no, I can't do this again. I just got my life back. Like, fuck this. No. And then I've told you, mate, I can't do it. Like, I just cannot. Too much fat chat stuff to do, right? Can't do it, right? But guess what, everybody?
Everybody.
Body Maj will be down at the Busselton 100 as promised. As we thought.
Triathlon thought they got rid of you.
I'm back.
But he's back.
Just like this is
doing
your
promo.
big comeback, and I'm going to be back. I'm going to be down there. So what I'm going to be doing, if any listeners or fans of the show or fans of Matt that are down there, I'm going to be doing a bit of a roaming FatChat segment. So we're going to be down...
What's the footy show?
It's Street Talk.
Street Talk. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to be like that. We're going to be down there. I'll come and have a bit of a chat to you before the race. We'll catch you after. Will be the official pre and post game media at the Busselton 100. It's going to be great. Come and say hello if you're down there. Would love to know your thoughts, why you're down there, who's supporting, all that sort of stuff. And can't wait to be down the Busselton 100. It's going to be fun.
Just remember to pack your jumper and stuff this time. We didn't need it in December, but
yes, definitely need it.
It's a bit cooler in the May, but fingers crossed the rain does hold off for another week here at least.
Yep. So other question I was going to ask you was, what time does it start? 8 o'clock,
7:30.
7:30, right?
7:30.
And how long are you going to make me wait until you're finished, until I can pack up and go
I'm
home
not putting
after?
the time on it. I think we started to joke about that the other day, and I was like, "Oh, hold on, I would have been back training for 8 weeks. we could be ringing the bell in the last."
I think you said, book a table over at Shelter at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, wow. I'd be fine then. But yeah, it's amazing how many people get down at this one. I think it'll shock you as to
how many people.
Yeah, friends of people that come down for this race, because there's teams.
Yep.
There's a short course race on the Saturday, a sprint distance, which a lot of people get involved in. The setup for the Busselton 100 is great. It's very much been at the same place for 15,
right at the front there.
20 years, whatever.
Is that along the foreshore and everything?
No, it's over on the other park, over the other side. It's a bit more open. There's DJs going all day.
Oh, great, I'll be there.
Yeah, so it is a real vibe, this one.
Yep.
It's and a real nice local.
And I'll get to actually enjoy it. I won't have to be out there going, but
you say that, but look, I've been watching recently, mate. You're back on a running journey.
I actually am. I'm running at the moment.
Recruited a couple.
I have. So I do a group class in the afternoons, and this was only 5 weeks ago that I said to them, I was like, "Hey guys, let's go for a run," and they were like, "No, like these are all people that just like lifting weights in the gym,
right, PT stuff.
Not Matt. They're not like big bodybuilder people, but we just do gym work and some little hit stuff every now and then." And they're like, "Nah, we're not runners." And I was like, "Nah, just come down. Let's just try one." To be honest, it was just because I wanted to go for a run that afternoon. It was really nice weather, and I said, "Come on, guys, let's go. We'll go together. It'll be fun." And went for a run. And after probably after the second week, they're all loving it. Yeah. They're like, they've gone from doing, some of the girls were sort of, walking and running, maybe doing 4 or 5Ks total for the session. And it's 5 or 6 weeks later now. And they just did 10 today. Yeah. And they pretty much ran the whole way, which is just amazing. So the improvements there, a couple of the guys that again were just like, I do not run. They've come the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and now they're going to go buy new shoes. They've all gone and bought all their new shoes, all their new Asics, and asking all the, the regular beginner runner questions, which is great. So I've been trying to get them on the shoes that we've got, the Asics. Yeah, real good, real good.
We could change them around. There's it's such a big range now. It's probably overwhelming. For a lot of people, but I like that you pitch it to them and they're like, "No, we're not runners." There's nothing that makes you a runner and not a runner.
Nah, not at all.
Until you go and shoes on.
Just do it. Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Don't run around in kicks, Nike kicks, because then you'll hate running even more. But
exactly.
Footwear is a massive, player in that space now.
And it's I think people maybe if they've historically gone for a run or they've done a run a few years ago at school or whatever, they go, I had shin splints, I had this little pain on my knee or whatever it is. And then if you get them in the right pair of shoes, the difference that makes is huge.
Massive. And the industry, the shoe tech has, in the last 5 years, it's been extreme in the development. So the cushion, where the support is, the rockers in the shoe, it makes running more enjoyable. It's
absolutely.
You don't need to invest in a physio first. Get a new pair of shoes, not one you've had for 2 years that you've done.
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands of steps in as well, just walking.
Yep.
I was like, you're destroying
squishing
the
foam.
Yeah, you want fresh foam.
Yep. Yeah. So if you've got top tips for somebody that's going to go buy new running shoes to get them better at running, name your top tips. What are you looking for?
Well, as we step into running
season,
winter. As it gets that bit cooler, which it has already this week, right? Cooled down a bit, but
the run this morning was nice and cool,
nice and crisp. You don't heat up so much, but a lot of the footwear stores now, we have specialty running stores around most places, but we'll have a full range of runners. If you, without getting too technical, if you pronate a lot, there's a certain shoe. If you don't, there's then a neutral shoe for you, depending on your physiology, on your how lucky
how your feet work.
Roll, but you also need to find what feels most comfortable for you. You don't want to put a shoe on that feels like you then are rolling in internally when you're just walking. Yep.
Because then that obviously just puts so much other stress further up the body, which was something that I found early on as well. I just had the wrong pair of shoes to start off with at my glutes, and then that was going down to my knee and all these other issues. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you feel a bit, I don't know, you walk into a running store, you don't want to seem like you've never run before.
Yep.
But you really just want to look for something with a sizable amount of cushion now.
Yep.
That'll make the running, it takes the impact away from your legs a little bit, or quite a bit. So there's plenty of footwear with a good amount of stack now.
And what I didn't know is that the first pair that I bought, they were the carbon fiber. I was like, went into the store and I was like, yeah, great, I'm about to do this.
And they will sell you them because they're most expensive.
Yeah, that's exactly so. And me just thinking, like, again, not really having much running experience, I've walked in and gone, cool, what's the best one, right? As in, what's your best? I just went, what's your best shoe? I'm doing this race, like I'm training for it. What's your best shoe? And they went, oh, it's this one. It's this. I can't remember what it was, Hoka, whatever. I was, oh, great. Yep, sweet. Sounds good. Yep, most best one. Thanks very much. And then that was a carbon fiber one that didn't have the same amount of foam as what these ones did.
Carbon fiber shoes are made for performance.
Yeah, and that's what completely ruined me to start off with, and I couldn't even, I had to take that little bit of running when we first started a little bit slow because they just ruined my knees, and then finally got the good shoes, and then it helped big time. So amazing how those tiny little tricks and little bits like that can make a big difference to how you feel when you're out there.
Yeah, be conservative early on.
Yeah.
If you're just starting a bit of a running journey and you're just stepping off the couch, the shoe needs to complement what you're trying to do with it. And the more time, the slower you run, which is what I encourage everyone to do.
Yep.
Start slow. All right. It's smarter to be slow. Super slow. It's okay. And breaking them up into even walk running to keep it slow is a great option. But you use a shoe that has enough cushion to look after your feet, because your feet are going to spend more time on the ground the slower you run.
Yep.
So those performance shoes like you first bought, they're for the forefoot when you're running fast and you're turning over quickly, because you don't spend a lot of time, your foot's not on the ground for as long, so you're springing a bit more, which is where the carbon helps.
Yeah, definitely.
But when you're just
training,
starting to
cruising,
start the journey and make it a walk run, you want a shoe that can do both.
Definitely.
So looking after your legs doesn't mean you need to go and get orthotics and whatnot straight away. It may do long-term shoes.
Yep, absolutely. So, doing this little running club, we might have to, do something with the FatChat, stuff with the running at some point, and maybe have you down and do some stuff, which would be pretty cool. But if anybody's going down to the Busselton 100 this weekend, make sure you come and say hi to Body Majic. We'll be we are the official media partner, not really, of the race, but we're going to make ourselves that pre-race, post-race, during the race, and can't wait to meet all the Matt Burton fans, or fan nerd, maybe. If there's one, that'd be good.
My wife's going, hopefully.
Hey guys, Dan from BackChat here. While Gerard's mum is a real doctor, this segment is for entertainment purposes only. For specific medical conditions, make sure you seek the advice of your own doctor.
Dr Majic, give me the news. I've got a bad case of vaginal thrush and lumps and balls, and we need you, Dr Majic. Oh yes, another week of Dr Majic. Oh my goodness. Hey, I'll tell you what, guys. This segment has been seriously popular.
Really?
It's been really, really popular during the week.
Only because of you.
100%. Star of the show. 100%.
Oh, embarrassing me.
Star of the show. I'll tell you what happened during the week, Matt. So Damien Martin, he called me up and he said, hey, I've got this radio little spot. Do you want to come on and talk about some stuff? I was like, yeah, sure. And Damien Martin is like my celebrity crush, but also
totally mine.
Mum's
totally
as well,
mine.
right?
Yeah, right.
So he calls me up. We're doing this interview, all going good, talking about whatever fitness stuff and the footy guys, whatever. And then he goes, oh. And your mum doing your FatChat Dr Majic segment, and went on this big thing about he loves the segment and blah blah blah. And I said,
Damo didn't mention me at all.
He didn't mention you. No mention actually. Now that you say it, no mention. But he loved mum. So
we've got this mutual thing.
That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, good friends.
What I'm loving as well now is the influx of questions that I'm getting on the little question box I'm putting up on Instagram. We've got some through the FatChat socials as well, and we've got 6 questions to ask Dr Majic today.
Well, let's hope I can.
Something better than last time.
That's right.
All right, question number 1, Dr Majic. What are your thoughts on medical marijuana?
Aha. Okay. I think it's got a place. I think it's great for a lot of people. It's good for anxiety for some people. It's good for insomnia for some people, and maybe even for pain as well can be helpful. However, it does have its drawbacks, because it depends on how much. It's got 2 components in it. One's the cannabis oil and one's the THC, and the THC is the part that can give you hallucinations and things. So
that's the fun part of it.
That's the fun part. But see, you can get medical marijuana without that, just with the cannabis oil,
right?
Which is fine, because then you can drive. But if you've got the THC part,
Does
you
it
can't
still
drive.
show up in a drug test
Yes.
though? It still does.
Well, no, not the cannabinoid, that's fine, but
the
the
oil
THC
doesn't.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's actually quite a problem for a lot of people that may want to use it because they can't drive. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's expensive, very expensive. It's about $200 a month, and you have to
Yeah,
go and
right.
see a doctor that actually prescribes it. And
Are you one of those doctors? Or is it?
not at the moment.
Yeah,
no.
okay.
Yeah.
And I guess they're
Oh,
quite.
I could, but I haven't done.
You'd have to
haven't-
tick a few boxes
Yeah,
before
that's
they
right. Exactly.
write
It's
the script
actually
for it.
quite involved. There's a
Yeah.
lot of paperwork involved and a lot of planning, which is the right thing because potentially things can go wrong with it too.
Does Medicare govern it here?
So
It's governed by the Australian Health
Okay.
Agency, but it's not under Medicare.
No,
Like
it's
it's a
not.
private prescription.
Right.
If that's what you're asking.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what actual conditions does it help treat though? Like what would you prescribe it for somebody?
Well, people that may be exhausted other things with chronic pain, perhaps as an adjunct might be helpful. People with anxiety that they can't tolerate other medications that may be useful.
Does that not make you anxious as well? Is that a side effect of it? Is anxiety though?
It usually doesn't. It usually,
Not without the.
Not without right, okay.
Yeah, not without the THC.
It's actually-
Yeah, that's right. And it depends. You can add smaller amounts of THC into the medication because it's all different increments.
Right.
Yeah, so it's actually
Yeah, okay.
quite. So you would start very small. Go slow. Yeah.
In
and,
other countries, it's they support athletes,
Mm.
endurance athletes, because it
True.
relaxes you, allows you to sleep.
Right.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's legal. You can buy it.
Yeah.
It's very accessible in other countries. I know some UK athletes in triathlon.
Is that then though, like if they go do a race of like an international race,
That's where
that's
there's like
illegal?
this- Nah, yeah. So this depends, right? When they come,
Right.
they don't tend to come and race down here, or there's
Yeah.
all, and it's still a bit like it's sort of frowned upon, but then they will promote it because they're paid by the
I
company.
think.
as
Do you know
well.
what? Do you know who
that right?
promotes it? Damien
No.
Hardwick, who was the coach of Richmond and is now at the Gold Coast Suns, like one of the
Yeah.
best coaches in the AFL. Mum.
Yeah.
He is investing in some company here that's growing it or manufacturing
Yeah.
it or something like that. He's real big on it. He has the oils and whatever every night before he goes to bed.
Yeah,
and-
okay.
Yeah, and has it got the THC in it? The stuff the
No,
athletes
this
use. Oh,
is
it's just
oil.
a cannabinoid.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think that's probably
Like some
a
good
good thing for a lot of
athletes.
people.
Yeah.
It certainly helps insomnia and people
Yeah.
with hyperactive minds and
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, my turn.
Yeah.
It's good to be back asking questions to your mum.
So
Actually
good.
get like common sense responses. Okay, so I've been told when I study to wear distinct deodorant because the smell helps trigger memories so you can remember more of what you are learning. Is this true?
I don't know the answer to that really, but
Was this someone asked this question?
Yeah, someone asked. Someone asked me
probably,
this one this morning.
Oh right, okay. So it may be the familiarity, I guess, of so they're asking if they wear a particular smell that triggers.
So
their
they got
memory.
told.
Yeah.
They got told that
Yeah.
like if you like smells
triggers.
trigger memories.
Yes. Well, it would make sense, wouldn't it? It's the same sort of thing with the sound as well. If you you can relate better to particular songs, and
Yeah,
for elderly people, if they're in nursing homes, they listen to certain songs that they like. It can actually help their memory. So it would make sense, wouldn't it, if you're actually stimulating your senses?
That'd be interesting to
Yeah, I
do
don't
like a memory test and
Yeah.
do it with.
Yeah.
Put some deodorant on, put
Yeah.
some, David
Yeah.
Beckham on, and then try the test again and see if that light triggers it. Interesting.
Like a subject you're not at all interested into, so you would forget it.
Yeah.
Usually, like
Yeah.
maths for most people.
Yeah.
I love maths. Sorry, I love maths.
Okay, so I don't mind maths, but for the majority.
Next one. This was sent in. Why do I need to pee so much after swimming laps in a chlorine pool?
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know if it matters so much the chlorine, but the temperature in a pool is lower than your body temperature. So when you are exposed to, you go from maybe a 30 degree day, hop into a pool. It might be 23 maybe, and then 25. Then your bladder muscles will constrict because of the cold,
Right.
and they'll actually you're more likely to actually pee in the pool. Let's face it, a lot of people pee in pools.
Same concept as an ice bath.
Yeah, that's right. Same concept.
Is that right?
Yep.
Is it
Yeah.
so?
It's cooler than your body temp.
So you want to pee
You
more?
vasoconstrict. So you're moving all the fluid like from limbs and stuff into your bladder.
Well, the other thing, that's actually right. I mean, you're actually constricting the blood vessels to your skin to preserve heat, and so you get bigger blood flow through your kidneys, and your kidneys make the urine. So
it's nothing to actually...
So not only the bladder wants to, empty, you're actually making more urine. So often when you get out the pool, you just make pee and pee.
So it's nothing to do with the actual chlorine. It's
I
more
don't
the
think it's.
temperature.
I don't think it's to do with the chlorine.
Because you can swim fresh water, it's the same.
Same.
But you drink it.
Right.
That's another reason.
Yeah, that's true.
People just taking too much in.
Yeah, you would do.
And then if you're in the water long enough, more so fresh water, you can absorb it through skin, right?
You absorb the
water if
through
it's
your
not
skin.
chlorinated. If it's just fresh water.
I don't know. Do you really absorb water through skin? You wouldn't sweat so much, so you wouldn't lose so much. You wouldn't have those sensible losses.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't know about absorbing it through your skin.
And then in a pool is like the actual, like say if you're in the pool all the time, is, like I had it a little bit like asthmatic with being in a pool with the chlorine. Is there any like long-term things that you can get with being in like a chlorine environment?
Yeah, well, it certainly can affect your skin and your nails and your hair. You could turn out blonde without more.
Yeah, true. It actually did. It actually did. Go a little bit.
Pools.
Yeah.
Like
the chlorine doesn't sit.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So it sits on top of the...
just in the fumes.
Oh, in the fumes, as in in the air.
Yep.
Well, that's how it would irritate your lungs, wouldn't it? Yeah. But I don't think there's really any... It'd have to be very, very strong to have long-term effects. Yeah. I think it's just more those sort of, effects at the time and, make sure you moisturise your skin, wash your hair straight after, that kind of thing.
Some people have allergies to chlorine. No, that's just unfortunate.
I had one asthma attack in the pool. It was like halfway through a session and I just went, and I couldn't breathe. And I was like, fuck, I had to go get an asthma puffer. And it took a little bit to like get back in.
Or do you think that was
No, it was that was the chlorine because I went outside.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I could breathe again. It was like it was a pretty humid day in the pool and it was hot. There was a lot of people, school holidays,
public
heaps of people.
Will have very high levels, like the high wind, and as Matt says, they've got to have the fumes as well because all of those people in the pool, they're bringing all their, bodily fluids in there, and they want to kill them, want to keep the bacteria low. So they would have quite high levels. Yeah.
Great.
A little bit of addition here. So when I had the issue with my foot, the infection in my foot, the pool was where I was cleared to swim first because it was like cleaner
good environment
than the ocean.
Yeah.
The ocean's a lot of unknown bacteria.
Definitely.
Whereas the pool, because it's so heavily chlorinated, public pools,
just kills everything.
Yeah, and then you read into it a bit more, and when you go to a pool on a busy day and it's quite murky, people think, oh no, everyone's pissing in the pool. It's the clothes.
It's the chlorine. Oh, the clothes.
Yeah, so a lot of people will swim in t-shirts, cotton shirts, and
it leaches
shorts.
out.
Yeah. Wow. So the murkiness isn't necessarily the oils from the body or people urinating in the pool.
It was interesting. Interesting though, in places like I was brought up in the UK, that everyone walked through a shower and a chlorine bath for your feet before you hop in. But here, people just hop in. They don't even have a shower.
I remember getting yelled at in France one day.
Because you didn't have a shower first.
You got to have a shower first. Yeah. And that makes sense to me. I'm interested that it doesn't happen here.
The pools are so clean over there too, and a lot of people swimming.
Well, Japan as well, same thing for like all the spas and all that sort of stuff. You got to do that first before you go into them.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Grubs.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
That's a good question. My turn. Why do the years feel like they're going so fast? And why can't you remember anything you did in a day?
Well, it's a good one.
That is a good one. Well, that's because you're getting old.
This is not my question. I can remember what I did today.
Well, because I guess when you're younger, when you're little, you're doing lots of things in a day. Like a kid might go to school, they might go to their friends, they might go and play sports. So a lot of interesting things. Where you compare it to your routine life that you normally have. You'll remember a holiday that you had. You probably remember you raced down in Busselton really well. That weekend is amazing, but you might not remember the following weekend, which might not have been very interesting. So your brain is very clever. It actually takes photographic memories of things. But if something's the same, it's not going to keep taking the same photographs.
So it's more about like if it's something real, like a significant thing that was really different to normal, that's why you're going to remember that.
That's right. You remember your holiday that you went to Japan recently, but you might not remember a couple of weekends ago. You got to think, what did I do? I'll check my diary, you know, because the sameness is just the same. So it's really important that you, you do create new memories and you do go on your holidays, you do go out with the kids and you all of this sort of, have fun. Those are the things that you remember.
I like that though. Why do the years feel like they go so fast? It's because you're having fun.
Well, the
Time
years.
flies when you have fun, right?
Well,
Or is it
yes.
because you're doing so much boring shit, and that's why you can't like
It's all merged
remember
into one.
Yeah.
Well, people actually, when everything's merged, it does go fast. People go, "Oh, this year went so fast."
Yeah.
You think, well, and that's really because they're really not done very much. Whereas if you've done a lot of
Yeah, okay.
things, you can go, "Well, I've done this, I've done that," so it goes more slowly. And when you're younger, a whole year at school just takes forever, doesn't
hey?
it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. I remember at
so
school it
much
was
to do.
so long. It was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. It was
Because every day you've got interesting things to do and your brain's being stimulated and you're doing lots of stuff.
Is
so-
there like only a certain amount of like memory that you can have? Is that the reason for that?
I
Is
don't
there
think so, but I think your
like
brain is
storage
very
space?
smart.
That's it.
card.
Well,
An SD card. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that there is, there's short-term and long-term memories, so the long-term memories, there's not much point in remembering that you went out and, that you had, I don't know, something boring for dinner last night. There's not much point in remembering that, is there? So you remember the interesting things in your long-term memories, in your long-term database.
Okay, what about this? This is a personal question for it. I cannot remember people's faces. Why?
Faces.
Yeah,
Faces.
so-
I've got genuine faces. It
names,
takes me 3
normally.
times.
Yeah,
Faces
yes,
and
yeah.
names. I can't do either.
That is a thing for some people, that they just can't remember faces and it takes them a long time. There's some people that never ever make long-term memories for faces, but you do eventually, do you?
I feel like I've just got a capped amount of faces that I've got in my
That you
brain
got.
and it's like someone has to be evicted to
famous.
someone to come in.
So
No,
well
not
known.
even, but it's just like I can't do it. It doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
It does not go in my brain. I could have met someone. It will take me 3 goes
To remember them.
of seeing you to go, I've got your face.
So do you-
Got your face.
remember-
yeah, I mean,
remember
a
you
lot
in
of
a
people
crowd.
do that with names. You have to associate people with names.
Would
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
reintroduce? Would you reintroduce yourself each time?
No, I
Okay.
never do that. I say, so good, even if I haven't met them, so good to see you. How you going?
Oh, everyone's going to be
Oh.
onto you now.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. They're all going to think I know them, or they're not going to know anyway.
Edit
Like,
this
it's the
one.
same
Create
answer
a
that I
clip for
give,
this
so-
one, so we can reshare it.
So good to see you. Hey,
Bust
man.
him.
Never say
Yeah.
nice to meet you ever. And then you wait. It's like this is a bit of a game to go. I'm in my head going a million miles an hour
Yeah.
going, are they going to fucking introduce their name first? Like, it is. It's serious.
I know,
yeah.
but that
it stresses me out.
Yeah, I know. I do that.
don't wanna be
I do that a
rude,
little bit
like-
with names, actually. Yeah, with names sometimes.
I'm shocking
so-
with names, but I.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my wife Kim, one of my mates' dads, must have met her like, I reckon 10 times each time.
Hey,
Nice to meet
could-
you. What's,
Oh
you
no,
know,
he couldn't
That's
remember
me.
her. He couldn't remember her every time.
amazing, but now they're like besties when
Oh.
they see one another.
So
but,
maybe he just takes 10 times as
I don't
Gerard
know.
only
It was
takes
so
3.
funny. I'd hear it and I'd be like, "What? What? Is he joking?"
Oh boy. Anyway, hopefully he hasn't got some memory loss problems then.
Yeah,
At
maybe.
10 times.
Maybe he
At
does.
least short term, and then it clicked into long. When do you go from short term to long term?
Yeah.
How long's the term?
Well, I don't know. I think that's I think that'd be very individual, really. And it would depend how significant it was. I mean, if you just meet,
brain is crazy.
If you go
Yeah.
out and meet lots of people all the time, you're not going to put them all in your long-term memory
No.
bank, are you? But I suppose people that you see more regularly and are more significant, they're going to be in your long-term memory. Yeah.
Last question for Matt.
I'm on. Yes, I like this one. I think this is mine, isn't it?
This is
Yeah.
your one. Yeah.
Does chewing gum actually make you hungry or suppress your appetite?
Yeah. Right. What kind of chewing gum?
Just standard extra.
Yeah. So if you've got chewing gum with sugar in it, then it would stimulate your hormones in your stomach
Yeah.
to be hungry.
Right. But
Because the sugar will stimulate your
Yeah.
GLP-1.
Does all chewing gum have sugar in it though?
yeah.
No, but if you go for the extra, which has not got sugar in it, it shouldn't stimulate that hormone. But for some people it does, and some people it doesn't.
because
So
does
it's
the
a difficult-
chewing not?
The chewing increases
Yeah.
salivary production. Usually makes your stomach think it's about to get
Yeah.
some food. But usually that can help create a satiety response that feel, oh, okay, I'm okay now.
Right.
So it actually does
But-
the opposite.
For some people. But
Some-
other people, does it make you hungry?
No, I just find chewing gum quite a gross habit,
Right. Okay.
and so I've probably
He's
created.
been on this for weeks. He's been talking
Yeah.
this about me for weeks. Going, when are we
I can't
talking about the
stand it.
chewing
I
gum?
can't
You can't stand other
The
people
people
chewing.
the way people chew it as well. Like it's so
reasons
known.
there's reasons that people chew chewing gum though. Some of them like it because it's meditative and it helps with anxiety. For some people have it for nicotine, I suppose.
That's
if
different.
they're
Yeah.
using it for that purpose. But some people do find it relaxing. And dentists reckon it's good for you if it's sugarless gum.
Builds up
good
them
for your
jaw
teeth.
muscles as well.
Good for your
those
teeth.
jaw size ones that Joe
Yeah.
Rogan's always talking about. Yeah,
Dry
yeah.
mouth, that helps with dry mouth because
Does
it
it?
helps
Yeah.
salivary production.
but certain types.
Well, you still want to have any chewing gum will help with salivary production, but you're better with the sugarless.
But it doesn't
free.
help you eat less, does it?
I don't think so.
No.
Some people may.
No, just say no. That's
Some
fine.
people maybe, but yeah, most people I don't think that it probably would. I don't think there's any studies to show that chewing gum actually helps you lose weight. No. But I agree with you. I'm not fussed on seeing someone chewing gum all the time, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Old people things, eh? So young kids chewing gum.
Well,
Tommy, never having Hubba Bubba.
You know it's banned in Singapore. It's actually a offence to
Might
take in
move there.
Singapore. Move to Singapore. Well, that's because people throw it on the ground.
Yeah, it's
and,
true. Yeah, they're
it's
on the
terribly
ground. And there's
messy.
nothing worse than stepping in my nice.
You'll get
whatever
in big
shoes I've
trouble
got
in
on.
Singapore if you have chewing gum there.
Yeah.
They'll charge you for that. Yeah.
As well.
There you go. So just don't have it ever.
Just don't have it ever. Yeah, exactly. And also, did you notice sugar-free is what you should be having? Did you notice that that's what the doctor said? All right.
Wait, is that,
No, she didn't.
Hey, Dr. Majic, thank you so much for coming on
My
down and doing
pleasure.
those questions. Great questions. They were sent in
They were
by
great.
people, all of those. So
Yeah.
keep sending them in. FatChat at backchatstudios.com.au or hit me up on socials. We'll get them in for next time Dr. Majic is in answering questions. Thank you very much, Mum.
my pleasure.
Thank you, Mum.
Thank you, Matt. What was your name?
Nice to meet you.
Oh, wow.
So, Matt, this is the topic that really interested to get stuck into for lots of different reasons, and that is if caffeine is good or bad for you, right? Very, very broad what we've just said there, but what I'd love to discuss with you is, what the effects are in terms of like performance stuff when we're looking at getting the most out of yourself, and then maybe also talk about just like the everyday person that's got their office job, they're sitting down, but they might be having 3 or 4 or 5 coffees, whatever it is, to get them through the day, and what sort of effects that can have on just your lifestyle in general. So, talking performance-wise, how do you use it? How do you use caffeine the most beneficial?
Yeah, so caffeine, I guess the general reference is coffee, right? But from a performance point of view, things like no-dose, caffeine in gels, in drinks is quite common because you get an accurate amount. Coffee is a bit of an unknown.
Yep.
Right, some coffee,
Is more,
some baristas,
some
will
less.
have a higher dosage of caffeine, some quite less. Will you feel that? No, a lot of the time not, because you just mentally get in that placebo effect.
Yep.
But from a performance point of view, in the morning, a lot of people, it is important to have a coffee as a general routine because it gets your bowels moving.
Yeah, that's what I do.
so,
I have my Master's Light Ice coffee, one of those every morning.
I wouldn't
Breakfast of
suggest that,
champions, mate. Breakfast of
But yeah,
champions.
a warm coffee, like a warm supplement, will actually help your bowel move even quicker. So that's a big part of this, of why you do it, I guess, when you've pre-race or pre a hard session, is to get your stomach moving first, because then your body's actually working correctly for the day. It also then has the effect of the caffeine, which breaks down in your system. Caffeine has quite a long half-life.
Yeah, it's like 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah. So when you exercise, you chip away at it a little bit quicker.
Yep.
So you keep it topped up on the endurance events. But
A half-life is just how long that stays in your system for anybody that wanted to know that.
Yep. Sorry, we were getting a bit scientific, but like everything in life, there's a tolerance.
Yep.
Right. So typically within sport, 300 milligrams is about like the performance enhancing level in one dose.
In one dose. That's quite a lot,
It's
though.
quite a lot. It's
Yeah.
3 no-dose.
Yep. So like just for reference, like I've got some stuff here. So like a coffee is between about 80 to 120 milligrams, depending on the coffee. A Red Bull is 80 milligrams. A tea, about 40. A Coke, like a regular Coke, 35. Pepsi, same thing, 30, 38. And a Monster is about 160 to 200. And then obviously there's like, if you go to the pre-workouts and they've got, 250 or 300 milligrams, depending on what one it is.
Yep. So the reason then from a performance point of view, things like no-dose are used, and caffeinated gels, which are only, you're not only getting the caffeine, but we get that a sugar
They
hit
taste like shit. I hate
Yeah, they
them.
do
Yeah.
pre-start. Is because you can't consume that much fluid prior to a race. Like you were saying,
Yep.
a Monster has, 200, potentially 200 milligrams, but that means you'd have to have 1.5 of them,
Yep.
which is a lot of then to have your general fluid, and then you've got all the additives in it as well.
Yep.
That's why using a tablet isn't like, oh no, frowned upon, do it secretly. It's just a very simple source, and you know exactly how much you're getting at that time.
True.
So you can be quite specific with it. Caffeine in general, in performance sport, in endurance sport, it's become quite common because you just then keep the levels topped up throughout the day.
Yep.
So then every couple of hours you might have
A little bit more and
to
keep
100
cruising.
milligrams.
Yep.
Yeah, and you just keep that release, because it is releasing fatty acids. It's helping oxidize fat within your bloodstream. Caffeine. So there is an actual science to why you have it, and it's not just for a buzz per se. It's it's releasing adrenaline into your system, which then has these effects to help break down fats. So you're just essentially helping your body source more energy for use in performance. So, but then you also got that tipping point where if you go too far, caffeine is it will dehydrate you. Right. So you're already dehydrating yourself from exerting yourself. So you don't need to then go stupid with it. And you'll feel it if you go and have a big hit of caffeine and you do a really short, hard effort, you get dry in the mouth. Instantly. So there's you do need to be cautious in hot climates. It's again a bigger risk because you're then dehydrating yourself even more. So as soon as you get dehydrated within your gut, you can have some stomach issues, which can be a lot of cause now because most performance gels, drinks that have caffeine in it, people they're well marketed. Right. They're only going to market stuff they want to sell. So when people are using too much of it, you're going to have some stomach stress.
Yeah, most definitely.
Which is common. Like if you have a heap of coffees in the morning.
Yeah, you feel it. Yeah.
You could be on the toilet very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So that's all the real performance side of stuff with sport, which there's lots of, benefits for doing that. But then I guess on the other end of the spectrum, which is what people that I'm working with that are maybe just getting into, improving some little bits and pieces about their health or trying to lose some weight or whatever. One of the most common things that I probably see is somebody that is not using caffeine in the ways that, you're saying right now it's for, peak performance, and it's just to get through the day because there's all these other little underlying health things that they're trying to, either pick themselves up because their sleep's real affected, but, they're having too much caffeine throughout the day, which is then affecting their sleep, the next day. And there's sort of this overflow effect of almost too much. So that's probably one of the most common things that I see. But I think for not so much saying that, I think it's more just the timing, like you're saying, of the caffeine and keeping it consistent or not having it after a certain time for a regular person. That is the thing that is, that really kills people if they're having too much caffeine. If you have a coffee at, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, like you said, the half-life is 4 to 6 hours. There ain't no chance you get, well, not no chance, but it's pretty unlikely you're going to be getting to sleep, before sort of 9 or 10 o'clock. And then if you're up at 6 in the morning and all throughout your sleep, you're feeling a bit fuzzy. You don't get that full REM sleep. You don't get the full deep sleep all the way through because it's affected by caffeine. You wake up the next morning and then your decisions are a little bit poorer in terms of diet decisions, motivation to go to the gym, your energy levels. There's all these little overflow lifestyle choices that, overflows from maybe having too much caffeine for a regular person.
Yeah, it can be a slippery slope. It's a drug, right? Yeah. So like any drug, your body will just form a tolerance. So if you start giving it more, it'll just be okay, I want even more to keep you going. But I mentioned it from a performance point of view. So you're releasing adrenaline, which then has that adverse effect of more cortisol in your system. And then, so you hit a point of equilibrium where what feels like energy then actually dips, your body will start to hold on to fats. And you will put on weight from drinking too much coffee.
Which is funny because it actually, for somebody having it, it is an appetite suppressant as well that people use caffeine for. So
people use it as you see people just, I'll just have a coffee. It's don't because you're going to get a sizable amount of milk. Really, you don't need all that milk through the day anyway. Just have a couple. But having that hit of coffee it'll give you that it'll literally go and break down a bit of fat in your bloodstream. So it does feel like you get that energy boost sort of
straight away
instantly. But then once you hit that fine point where your hormones have flipped the other way, it's too much cortisol in your system. Your stress levels that's what is causing your stress levels to be too high. You will then start to just pocket calories. Literally you put on weight from something that really can aid you to lose weight if you take it properly.
And then again, there's the next overflow bit with the disruptive sleep, and then you get up, you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to train, your energy levels. So it's this sort of thing that, like you said, exactly, can really knock over the other way. So, if I'm recommending it to somebody, I'd be saying if you have 2 coffees a day, totally fine.
Yep.
1 in the morning, but I wouldn't be having anything definitely after 3 o'clock just because of how long it takes to, be out of your system if you want to sleep well. So that's what I would be recommending just for an everyday person. Do you reckon that's,
Yeah, and the word of having a coffee is very different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's, say a short Mac
With
or
one
a double
shot, yeah.
espresso. Yeah, it's like
Depends on
quite
how
a
much
small
is in
amount
there.
of milk as well, volume. Whereas if most people think of a coffee, it's quite a large one. That's a lot of calories from milk, right?
Definitely,
so
yeah.
You want to make sure you're over that and maybe have smaller ones. So you still have the same amount of caffeine, just drink it slower so you don't have so much milk. But yeah, 2 a day I think is a good starter. First up in the morning and then mid-morning, and see how you're going in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's like you really, maybe you have a lighter, like a one shot or but if you're having 5, 6 a day, there's a fair chance you're quite unhealthy.
Yep, absolutely. And tradies, if you're listening to this, if I fucking see another one of you in the morning that gets a pie and a Monster or a Red Bull for brekkie, put that shit away. Like that. Oh, no. In what world? No.
Well marketed.
Yeah, it is. But anyway.
Selling.
Well, I hope everybody took something away from that, and the performance side of stuff super interesting. And if you're someone that's having a little bit too much caffeine throughout the day, and you're struggling to make some changes with your lifestyle and your training and all that sort of thing, maybe that's a really good thing to focus up on early to see if you can maybe reduce that a little bit to see if there's a bit of an overflow effect.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey legends, this next little segment I have got a favourite of the show, Stephen Baker, who was a St Kilda legend. He played over 200 games for the Saints, and he was also a big reason why I did my Ironman the back end of last year. He's just one of the funniest guys to chat to, and we just caught up with him just to see what he's doing with his new Grit Talks, which is this presentation and show that he's taken all around Australia, talking about inspiration, motivation, and really, really tapping into the mental health space, which is super inspiring. So always good to have a chat. He's always good fun. Make sure you check on the full episode out that's coming out on Friday. We've got a little snippet here with Bakes now. And as always, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, any of the FatChat episodes that you've been listening to on any of the platforms. It just goes a long, long way to getting more guests, more sponsors, more people listening, get us up in the charts, all that sort of stuff. And we really appreciate you listening along. So thanks so much, guys, and love your work.
Is this where the Ironman journey began?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, way back when. How did it start? Run us through the quick story, Bakes. How did it all start?
Well, I caught up live, I think, and Majic agreed to do the Ironman, but he thought it was a team's event.
Yeah.
And I was live in the podcast studio, and I said, "Oh no, we've got to do the whole thing. We're just doing it as a team." And he was laughing and pretending it was a joke, and I just thought he was putting on a bit of a joke for the podcast. And then then I sensed, oh shit, he actually doesn't know that he's doing the whole thing.
The whole day
in the elevator,
he's gonna lose hours of his life.
But then what's happened is it's brought us all together.
Yeah,
boys.
we are.
It's brought us all together. See, look how good that is.
Used to a friend.
This is ridiculous.
A big happy family.
Bakes, we finished the Ironman, and I just actually deleted his number, and then he just was flooding me. He just hit me, texting, Instagram, Facebook.
He's still annoying you, is he? Has he kept training? Has he kept on his training? Or is he he's dropped off the bandwagon?
Back in the gym, Bakes. Look at these. You don't get these doing it right, man. Look at that. See that?
I saw the cannons, but nearly got me.
Hey! How's everything with you? What have you been up to? How's all the speaking gigs? You've been on a lap around Australia doing them.